And we begin tonight with an extremely important alert. It is now official. Republicans have now won a majority in the U.S. House of Representatives, and that is a big deal. Nancy Pelosi has been demoted, and her reign has now come to an end. And now, with one election almost in the books, another has almost just begun. As of Tuesday, President Trump, he kicked off his 2024 presidential bid last night in Mar-a-Lago in a speech filled with policy and perspective. And while we can't predict exactly what's going to happen in 2024, we can take a look back. Remember, just 2 years ago, Americans were recovering from the pandemic in a big way. Gas prices were low, interest rates were low, inflation was almost non-existent, the stock market was surging, and the southern border was secure. But in 2 short years under Joe Biden, that trajectory now has changed, and it has changed dramatically. Our country is now in a precipitous decline. Here at home, Americans, they are suffering from violent crime and backbreaking inflation and record-high gas prices. Layoffs at major corporations are now underway, and it's happening. It's widespread. And abroad, Europe is now teetering on the brink of yet another world war. Now, these are major life-altering problems, and yet Democrats are not offering any solutions at all. They are lying, they are smearing, they're fear-mongering, and like this is some kind of game. Now, this is all before the election. Remember, they lied about, Republicans are going to take away your Social Security. They lied about democracy is on the ballot. It is in peril. But they ignored the southern border of the United States, and they allowed, unfettered access to anybody. In October, the U.S. set a brand new record for illegal crossings. As we have up there on the screen, 2.76 million illegal immigrants. Those are the ones that we know about that were apprehended in 2022. And that is up from last year's record of 1.72 million. But in 2009, when border crossings were 556,000, well, let's take a quick look in time. Chuck Schumer had this to say about illegal immigration. Boy, have times changed.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration. People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally. The American people will never accept immigration reform unless they truly believe that their government is committed to ending future illegal immigration.
Where did that guy go? Anyway, that's when Democrats still actually cared, at least a little bit, about truth, about reality, and about the rule of law. We have laws about immigrating into this country. Now to them, it's one big game. And yet today, in a blatant attempt to pander to his radical base, Chuck Schumer sounded very different, calling on the Senate to grant amnesty to all illegal immigrants. Does this sound like the same guy that you just heard from? You decide.
Our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here. And we will be pursuing that in the next Senate. It's the right thing to do. It's the moral thing to do. It's the humane thing to do. And I want to assure everyone here, we will not stop fighting till we get a fix for DACA, a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and a pathway to citizenship for all undocumented.
Now, why wasn't Chuck telling you that before the election? Let's quote Chuck in 2009, shall we? Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we're going to make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are now here. So is anyone convinced Democrats will stop future flows of illegal immigration? Is there any evidence of that at all? Have they proposed any kind of solution at our southern border? What they inherited was a secure border. How's, by the way, our border czar Kamala Harris doing? What about Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas? What is he doing to help? What on earth is he up to? Because he definitely is not securing the homeland at our southern border. Our country is at risk because of what is a clear dereliction of duty. Let me explain what happened. Is we have wide open borders. They process, they release them into the country. They're given preferential treatment because they don't have a a vaccine mandate. They don't even have a COVID test. There's no background check where people come from, whether they have radical associations or not. Then they get their free Biden phone. Then they get transported in the dark of night to some obscure airport around the country. And from there, well, you take care of their housing and their food and their health care and their education of their kids, et cetera. And look at the number of Americans now that are dying. Record numbers from fentanyl pouring in from Mexico. 90% of heroin from that southern border. The cartels are emboldened, now making more money than ever. Human trafficking, sex trafficking are rampant. Nearly 100 individuals on the terror watch list have been apprehended trying to cross. And we have no idea how many were not apprehended. That would mean terror cells are trying to get into this country to bring our country harm, to bring your families harm. Yet this administration, Mayorkas, Biden, I'm not sure exactly how they sleep at night, knowing that this is their sheer incompetence and malfeasance. And it has now led to the death and destruction all across this country, especially with fentanyl on a massive scale. Now, of course, we know that the big guy, Joe Biden, sleeps just fine. He has plenty of naps and an early bedtime. Joe is not a serious president. He's not up to the job. He's feeble. He's cognitively impaired. And Democrats, by the way, just trot him out with a note card in his hand. He just toes the party line. Who's actually making the real policy? Nobody seems to know. Devoid of strong, competent leadership, our country is falling apart. And it's not just the border crisis, it's also the inflation crisis. You feel it every time you go to every store you shop at. The supply chain crisis, the violence all across the country in small towns and big cities. But tonight we do have good news. With the majority of Republicans now in the House, they can at least stop the Biden administration from actively making these crises even worse. And now, more $1 trillion new Green Deal boondoggles, they can be stopped. No more blue state bailouts, that can be stopped. No more tax hikes, they can stop that. And by the way, that all gets passed on to you. Well, we're going to tax those corporations. Corporations don't get taxed. Guess what? They pass it all on to you. Republicans have the power also of subpoena. They have the power now to investigate the Biden administration and issue those subpoenas and hold all of them accountable. Make no mistake, taking control of the House tonight is a really big deal. And our two-year nightmare with radical Democrats entirely in control of your government is mercifully coming to an end. And it couldn't have come soon enough. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.